For everything we know about the people who came before us, there is still so much we simply don't, and maybe never will. Our ancestors took many secrets with them to the grave, leaving us to wonder why they built the things they did, how they achieved what was impossible, and what many of their most marvelous creations were actually meant to be. The discoveries you're about to see today don't just challenge what we know about the past, they make us question whether we've understood it at all. So, ready to look beyond history? Well, let's get started. Number 15. The Wandjina sky beings. There are a lot of paintings that tell the story of the people who created them or why. These are believed to tell the story of beings who came before them. Across Australia's remote Kimberley region, Aboriginal communities have repainted the same mysterious beings for countless centuries, following traditions so strict that even the smallest change is forbidden. Those figures are known as the Wandjina, and the first thing almost everyone notices is what they're missing. Well, none of them have a mouth. Elders say that wasn't an accident. The Wandjina are remembered as powerful sky beings, and giving them a mouth could awaken forces capable of bringing heavy rain, violent storms, and destruction across the land. British explorer George Gray recorded the paintings in 1838, and later surveys identified more than 260 sacred sites throughout the Kimberley. Their large oval eyes, rounded heads, pale bodies, and glowing halos have remained almost unchanged for thousands of years. Similar round-faced figures also appear in ancient rock art from Algeria and Japan. So, was it nothing more than a coincidence? Number 14. The La Roselle footprints. The story of our ancestors isn't told only through bones. Sometimes they leave something far more personal behind. The marks of where they once walked. On the coast of Normandy in France, winter after winter, the sea kept eating away at the cliffs until the ground beneath finally gave up one of its oldest secrets. Pressed into the ancient soil were hundreds of Neanderthal footprints that had remained untouched for roughly 80,000 years. As more of the site was found, the total reached 257 footprints, the largest collection ever linked to Neanderthals. The real surprise came when those tracks were measured. Most didn't belong to powerful hunters at all. They belonged to kids, including toddlers barely old enough to walk. Suddenly, the picture changed from roaming warriors to families living ordinary lives together. Nearby fireplaces, stone tools, and the bones of horses and deer filled in the rest of the story. Sadly, the ocean that revealed this rare glimpse into the past is slowly carrying it away again, footprint by footprint. Number 13. The Wilburton Iron Cup. We know why miners break apart coal. They're expecting to find more coal, not an iron cup. But that's exactly what one worker reportedly came across in 1912 while working near Wilburton, Oklahoma. As he split open a large lump of coal, an iron cup was said to be sitting inside it. Finding an old cup isn't difficult to explain. The place it was found is what has kept people arguing ever since. The coal surrounding it belongs to deposits that are generally considered hundreds of millions of years old. If the cup had truly been sealed inside before the coal formed, it wouldn't simply be an unusual discovery. It would challenge the timeline behind it. Not everyone accepts that conclusion. Some believe the object somehow became mixed with the coal much later, while others question whether the account was accurate in the first place. The biggest problem is that the cup itself no longer exists. Only the old reports remain, leaving every new generation to argue over exactly the same mystery all over again. What do you think about it? Number 12. Aramu Muru. The God's Gate, the Gate of the Gods, better known as Aramu Muru, is an ancient stone doorway that simply doesn't make much sense. I mean, why would anyone spend so much time carving a giant door into solid rock if it doesn't actually lead anywhere? That's the question people have been asking for many decades. This monument near Peru's Lake Titicaca stands about 23 feet tall and just as wide, with a much smaller doorway cut into the middle. Local traditions say it was never meant to open into another room at all, but it was believed to be a holy gateway leading into the world of the gods, where only chosen souls could pass into eternal life. Just beside the smaller doorway, there's a perfectly shaped circular indentation that many believe once held a sacred golden disc. According to legend, an Incan priest escaped the Spanish carrying that very object. After reaching the gate, local shamans performed a ritual. A brilliant blue light appeared, and the priest stepped through the doorway, never to be seen again. So, was it just a good tale? Number 11. The mysterious Sibiu manuscript. This ancient manuscript feels as though it opened to the wrong century. Turn its pages, and instead of finding the kind of ideas most people expect from the 1500s, you're staring at designs that sound strangely familiar even today. The book was created by Konrad Haas, an engineer whose work survived for centuries without attracting much attention. Hidden among its pages are detailed plans for multi-stage rockets, discussions of liquid fuel, and engineering ideas that would not become reality until hundreds of years later. None of this was added afterward. Those drawings were already sitting there long before anyone had launched a rocket into space. The manuscript remained forgotten until 1961, when it finally returned to public attention and left historians with a puzzle they still can't completely explain. Was Haas a brilliant thinker whose ideas arrived centuries before the world was ready? Or was he building on knowledge that has since disappeared? Number 10. The giant stone statues of Sulawesi. Somewhere in the distant past, people moved hundreds of enormous stones into a lonely valley on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. That alone would be impressive, but no one can say who those people actually were. Today, around 400 stone figures stand scattered across Bata Valley. Some are only a few feet high, while others rise more than 15 feet into the air with large faces staring silently across the landscape. Then there are the long rectangular stones that have puzzled researchers for years. Many believe they may have been ancient coffins, especially after heavy stone lids were found nearby that seemed to fit them perfectly. But that's only part of the mystery. Almost every ancient monument has traces of the people who built it. Here, there is almost nothing. No town, clear settlement, or written history to follow. Since stone cannot be carbon dated, even their age is still uncertain. Local stories speak of a lost tribe, while others claim the statues were once human beings turned into stone forever. Number 9. The medieval sealskin manuscripts. This ancient book is made from seals, which is not only unusual, it wasn't even supposed to be possible. For centuries, people naturally assumed medieval book covers came from animals raised on nearby farms, such as cattle, goats, or deer. Nobody expected a monastery sitting deep inside central France to be wrapped in the skins of creatures that spent their lives swimming through the icy waters of the North Atlantic. The surprise came when researchers tested dozens of old bindings and found dina belonging to harbor, harp, and bearded seals from places including Scotland, Greenland, and Scandinavia. In total, 43 books were made this way, and tiny seal hairs still caught inside the leather earned them the nickname hairy books. That discovery revealed far more than an unusual choice of material. Every single skin had traveled hundreds of miles before reaching the monastery, following trade routes that connected distant coastlines with inland Europe centuries before modern transportation existed. Sometimes the biggest clue about the past isn't written on the pages. It's wrapped around them. Number 8. The Rocky Valley Labyrinths of Cornwall. There's a place just over a mile from Tintagel Castle where two strange patterns have been carved straight into the rock beside Rocky Valley. They don't look impressive at first, In fact, it's easy to walk past them without realizing you're standing beside one of Britain's longest-running mysteries. The carvings weren't even noticed until 1948 when they were spotted from an aircraft passing overhead. Ever since then, people have argued over the same questions. Who carved them? And more importantly, why? Some date them to the Bronze Age, while others think they could be much older than that. Their meaning is just as uncertain. Some link the designs to ancient Celtic beliefs and ceremonies connected with fertility, while modern pagans still visit the valley to hold rituals of their own. Another suggestion claims local mill workers carved them as a prank during the 18th century, but the amount of work involved makes that explanation difficult to accept. Number 7. The honeycomb tombs of Bohol. Well, most ancient tombs become mysterious because somebody broke inside them. But trust us, these are different. Their mystery began because no one ever did. Hidden away on the Philippine island of Bohol sits a group of stone burial chambers known as the honeycomb tombs, or ermita. They were carefully planned, skillfully built, and arranged exactly as you would expect from a working cemetery. The strange part is that they were never used. No human remains have ever been found inside them, and there isn't a single sign that anyone removed bodies later. They simply stood there, empty from the very beginning. Old church records connect the project to Father Enrique de Santo de Villanueva, a Spanish priest serving the area during the early 1800s. For reasons nobody has managed to explain, the work suddenly stopped, while the people who died during that period were buried elsewhere, many in large communal graves. Then, in 1844, the church itself was closed, and the priest vanished from the historical record. The tombs are still there today, silently waiting for occupants who never came. Number 6. The vanished Dorset people of the Arctic history has given us countless abandoned cities, forgotten temples, and ruined kingdoms. But an entire civilization disappearing without leaving behind its final story is far harder to explain. Long before the Inuit made the Arctic their home, another culture had already mastered one of the harshest places on Earth. They were known as the Dorset people, and for thousands of years they survived freezing temperatures that most of us wouldn't last a single day in. Then, sometime around the 14th century, they were simply gone. No records. No final battle. No clear sign of what brought their story to an end. All that's left are carved ivory figures, unusual masks, stone tools, and the remains of camps scattered across the frozen landscape. Inuit traditions describe them almost like people from another age. Quiet, powerful, and rarely seen. Strangely, archaeologists have uncovered very few weapons connected to them. Some believe they slowly merged with the incoming Thule culture, while others think a changing climate finally caught up with them. Whatever happened, the Dorset disappeared without ever telling the world why. Number 5. The Codex Washingtonianus. You may have heard about ancient books with strange stories inside them, but this one is in a dark league of its own. The Codex Washingtonianus isn't famous because it's old. It's famous because of something that shouldn't be there. As people studied its pages, they came across a passage from the Gospel of Mark that most modern Bibles simply don't include. In those words, Christ tells his followers that Satan's power has come to an end, while warning that evil is still at work in the world. That discovery left people asking the same question ever since. If those verses appeared in one of the earliest biblical manuscripts, how did they disappear from so many later copies? No one has been able to give a single answer everyone agrees on. Some believe the passage was removed as Christian teachings gradually changed, while others think it quietly vanished after centuries of copying by hand. Whatever happened, this forgotten text has never stopped making people wonder what else history may have left behind or just erased. Number 4. The massive Mayan city, sometimes history disappears so completely that you don't even know you're standing above it. That's what happened in 1931 when botanist Cyrus Lundell was flying over the thick jungles of southern Mexico for the United Fruit Company. He wasn't searching for ruins, yet two pyramids suddenly pushed above the endless sea of trees. Everything hidden below them turned out to be Calakmul, the lost capital of the powerful Snake Kingdom, once one of the greatest forces in the entire Maya world. As the jungle slowly gave up its secrets, thousands of buildings came to light, along with 117 carved stone monuments, more than any other known Maya city. Ancient inscriptions showed that Calakmul ruled a huge network of allied kingdoms and even crushed its greatest rival, Tikal, leaving that famous city weakened for well over a century. But the biggest mystery came much later. By the time the Spanish entered the Maya world, Calakmul had vanished so completely that nobody remembered it. No stories survived. No place names remained. It was as though one of the greatest cities in the Americas had never existed at all. Number 3. The Ancient Witch of Pompeii Well. When Pompeii disappeared beneath volcanic ash in AD 79, it preserved far more than buildings and streets. It also froze thousands of ordinary moments that people never expected anyone else to see. One of the most curious surfaced in 2019 inside a wealthy Roman house. Resting where a small wooden box had once been, archaeologists uncovered its surviving bronze fittings and everything that had been stored inside almost 2,000 years earlier. This wasn't the kind of collection most people would expect to find among expensive jewelry. There were crystals, polished beads, tiny mirrors, miniature figurines, carved skulls, and several unusual objects carefully kept together in a single container. The house itself probably belonged to a wealthy family, yet the box may have belonged to one of their servants instead. In Roman life, charms, rituals, and protective objects were woven into everyday beliefs, making it difficult to know whether these items belong to a fortune teller, someone practicing magic, or simply a person hoping to keep bad luck away. Well, that's a mystery Pompeii never answered. Number 2. Ars Notoria. Many books promise hidden secrets, but this one makes a promise that's almost impossible to ignore. The Ars Notoria claims that, through a series of prayers and careful study, a person can strengthen their memory, deepen their understanding, and learn difficult subjects with astonishing speed. That's a bold claim, which helps explain why people have been talking about it for hundreds of years. Many know it through the Lesser Key of Solomon, but its story reaches much further into the past. The version that survives today was put together in Latin during the early 17th century, drawing heavily from writings that already existed in the 13th century, while some of its prayers appear to be even older. Nobody knows who first created it. Tradition gives the credit to King Solomon, although no historical evidence has ever confirmed that connection. Unlike many famous grimoires filled with spirits and magical ceremonies, this one is almost entirely concerned with knowledge itself. So, does it truly unlock hidden abilities? Number 1. Astronaut carving of Salamanca. There was no such thing as an astronaut when Salamanca's famous cathedral was built, which is exactly why one tiny carving has managed to confuse millions of people on Earth. When photographs of it first appeared on the internet, people wasted no time coming up with their own wild theories. Some said it was proof that time travelers had somehow visited the past. Some even insisted it showed proof of ancient aliens long before history ever began. After all, the figure really does look like someone wearing a spacesuit, complete with a helmet and heavy boots. Well, now, as strange as it looks, the explanation is much simpler. The cathedral itself was built between 1513 and 1733, but the astronaut was added centuries later during restoration work in 1992. Sculptor Geronimo Garca included several modern details, and the astronaut was chosen to symbolize humanity's greatest journey into space. Even after the truth came out, The carving never lost its mystery, and people still stop to stare at it every single day. If you've enjoyed what you've just watched, then like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon.